Welcome to Like Mother, Like Murder. I am Rachel.
And I'm Heather.
We bring you the good,
the badass,
and the crime.
This is Like Mother, Like Murder.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Like Mother, Like Murder, your favorite true crime momcast, where each week my amazing co-host and I bring mom-related true crime content your way. That could be us bringing you information on a missing mom. It can be us looking into a mother who was murdered. We can deep dive into a mom who has been the one to commit the crime. We have worked alongside moms as they have fought for answers and for justice or resolution. And in this specific case, we worked with a daughter who helped to solve her mother's cold case 46 years after the fact. This was way back when Heather and I started a podcast called Whine Time, the good, the badass, and the crime. It was still mom-related content, but we would throw in birthing stories, talk about postpartum, and other mom-related episodes. Then, years later, we rebranded and became what most of you know now, Like Mother, Like Murder. And I just want to take a moment and give a huge shout out to any of you guys who have been here through it all. We had just recorded episode 3 of Whine Time when I heard about a case where a daughter helped to solve her mother's decades-long cold case. She was murdered in their home that the two of them shared together. And then days, months, years, and decades went by with no answers, no accountability, no resolution, and a little girl that no longer had her mom. Loretta Jones was murdered in her home in August of 1970 to be found by her 4-year-old daughter the next day when she looked through the keyhole of her bedroom door. That little girl is Heidi Jones Asay. And after I heard about Loretta's story, I reached out to Heidi. She came on to Whine Time and she was our very first interview. That was episode 7. We no longer count the number of episodes, but we are well into our 200s. And today, on 200 and something of Like Mother, Like Murder, Heidi joins us again, but this time it's to share about her book, Through the Keyhole, Solving the Cold Case of Loretta Jones. It's been a long time coming. This book was released 1 year ago, and we're so happy and honored to sit with Heidi and in our words, have a little podcast book tour moment where Heidi shares about how the book began, choosing the author and working alongside of her with David Brewer, what the response has been since the release, and most importantly, that if you have hope, there is a chance. Today, you will get our conversation with Heidi, and then on Thursday, I am re-releasing our episode on Loretta with Heidi's original interview that we did with her. And it will have better audio, better editing, and be easily accessible so you do not have to scroll down and find it. Our hope here is that after you hear our chat with Heidi, you feel inspired and you buy the book. This conversation is only a glimpse of a decades-long story. And in the book, you get it all. You get every detail, all the perspectives, and all of it. Straight from those who lived it. Here's Heidi Jones Asay. Just to start, today we're going to be talking about Through the Keyhole, Solving the Cold Case of Loretta Jones. And we're here with Heidi Jones Asay. Heidi, thank you so much for rejoining us because we've talked with you before and now you're back.
Yeah, back.
I'm happy to have you back. It's been a long time coming. And we were just talking about the fact that episode 6, that is so long ago. It's been years, but in that time, you released a book.
Right. So
you did.
we released a book Through the Keyhole, like you said. and solving the cold case of Loretta Jones. It took us about 2 years to write the book, and then so it's been out a year now. So just trying to get my mom's story out there, and for any other victims of homicides, unsolved murders. I mean, it took me 46 years to solve her case, but we did it. Never give up. As long as you have hope, you have a chance.
Yes.
So
yeah,
I don't know how many times we've used.
She's crying.
What? We're like 1 minute in. I don't know how many times we've used your quote when we've talked to other. I mean, you were our first interview, and it's so funny. I'm getting like flashbacks right now. I still remember this. I was literally like at Starbucks. I was texting Rachel. She had told me, okay, I did it. I sent her an email or a message like on Facebook because she had come across your story. And she was like, oh my gosh, I want to talk to her about her mom's case. Like, this is so crazy, And she's like, oh my gosh, she wrote me back. And I was like, that's amazing. That'd be so crazy if we could talk to her about it. This case is, oh my gosh, And so how many times we've used your just like inspirational quote to other people who are going through very similar situations with their family members' cases. And it's just it's so amazing. And here we are. And I just remember, our interview way back when, episode 6, like Rachel was saying, and how you said we're writing a book, and we said, well, we're gonna have you back on. And it was like it's just so crazy how full circle this has all come.
Yeah, it's been a journey, that's for sure. And a lot of what's in the book, is through the whole investigation process with, Sergeant Brewer, and a lot of emotions, that didn't always get shared with everybody. And, the original case files, and just having to redo an investigation with not much to go on except, a daughter who was bound and determined to get justice for her mom. So, and since then, Sergeant Brewer has retired. He's relocated. He's now living in West Virginia. So I don't get to see him as much, if at all.
Yeah.
So
I think that's one of the cool things, like perspective wise, though, about a book in general, right? We can have a podcast episode, we can have a documentary, we can have, a article, but the book, especially with you being involved on it, there's so much more in it, and there's so much more perspective and light and just detail that you wouldn't get through what Heather and I can talk about, right? Even with talking about you, we can't portray that. We can't, it's your story. And I think that's amazing. Can you kind of like share? So Shawnee Barnes is the one who ultimately was the author on it. How was that? How'd you choose her? Did you know her before? What's all that, like the details there?
Actually, it was a call that David got. There were some dogs up at her property, and he went and met with Shawnee, and I never knew who Shawnee Barnes was. And then he helped her with these dogs, and when he went into her house, he saw that she had this fancy little typewriter. He says, "Oh, what are you going to do with that?" And she says, "Well, I hope to write a book someday." And he says, well, how about writing our book? And she's like, "What? What's your book?" David said, "Hey, I found somebody to write our book." And this was our first book. And, it took her about 2 years, a lot of rewrites, all of that, cutting stuff out, stuff you didn't want in there, stuff you wanted in there. And, so yeah, I think she did a fabulous job for us.
Yeah. I had no idea that was her first book either. Like, that's incredible. And what a book to be a part of for your first debut into the author world.
Right.
Do you know, is she working on other stuff since then?
She is working on a second book, I know.
Okay.
It's not a true crime book. I don't know that she'll do any more true crimes, but she definitely told our story well. So.
Yeah. We we've read it. We know we can speak for that. And so, and like I said, not only did we read it, we knew about your mom's story. We had already talked to you. So like being able to read it after what we thought we knew and what we were exposed to from our conversations and from our research, it's just a completely different world when you're reading a book. I actually got the privilege of being one of the people that was chosen to do her book box. I don't remember the exact name. Like what did she call it? But I thought that was one of the coolest things to be a part of yes, I felt like it was more special knowing you and having talked to you and stuff like that. I don't think I would have had the exact same kind of like emotions as I was reading it and going through it and kind of the journey that box took me on if I didn't know you. I would have probably just been like, this is cool, but it was just amazing. I thought that was such a really, really awesome touch that she included on that.
Yeah. Is
that common for people to do that?
Evidently it is.
Okay. I'm like, I don't read that much.
No, I mean, when she said she was going to do this, I thought, oh, what a great idea. And then, I was just trying to think of, oh my gosh, who's your top 5? Get them in there so they can get in on this, because she posted about doing that. And then she had her spots filled in no time. So
yeah, I'm glad. And I mean, I pulled up, my handcuffs and this, and there was just like 10 different things in this box that as you're reading it, yes, but as knowing the story, how they tie into what you're talking about. It's just such an amazing way to do something like that.
Yeah.
Make sure that doesn't fall off and break. I would cry. I would absolutely cry. Yeah, that was a very, very cool touch that she did. So how was it so you and David, you guys had this already in the works before you even found her? You guys had discussed?
Well, we had said that we needed to write a book, and we tried working with a local author here in town, and it just wasn't taking the direction that we needed. And, so we stopped that project, and we were just kind of in limbo for many years. And then, by chance, David met Shawnee, and it was just like, oh, okay, let's do it,
Nice.
So
have you considered, I know that I reached out to you about this, but have you considered doing any sort of like book tours? Or when I reached out, I was wondering if you might ever be at CrimeCon to put it out there, because getting it to that audience.
I would love to go to CrimeCon, and I keep watching all the posts about it and everything. And, my husband's having back surgery next month, so there's no way we can make it, but this year, but who knows?
Next year.
We did a lot of local book signings just around here, and a lot. David has done a couple out in West Virginia. And then I went to California totally unprepared, but I took my books, and I was hoping to go, do some book signings. But hey, I sold some books to some random people that, and I'm going to attempt to do another book signing this month. So just here in Carbon County, so we can get the word out. But
well, and CrimeCon, they move around, so who knows? Maybe one day it'll be in Utah.
Oh,
and
it'll
just be local. You won't even have to. You could drive there. Like who knows?
Yeah,
that would be ideal. I mean, in the past few ones that I've heard about, it hasn't been anywhere, in Utah. So to make its way everywhere.
They go all around. So who knows?
Yeah. Well, isn't it in Colorado this year?
It is, yeah.
See?
So
and that would have been a good trip to take, and get Lisa Carter to go to a book signing with me,
Yeah. You know what? There's so many other things too. Like I just went to True Crime Podcast Festival, which is a different festival. And then while I was there, I was exposed to Advocacy Con, and that's one that really works firsthand with families. And then we received information from another convention called Beyond the Convention, and that one is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I know that's closer as well.
Beyond the Crime Convention, right?
Oh, wow.
Like, I think it's very in tune with like the work that you've done as well, like with your
Right.
with your mom's case. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to
more
look into that.
background.
Yeah.
But the point is, like, there's so many, and that's just conventions, and that's just crime stuff. I mean, if you look at, I'm sure there's just book conventions and just
Right.
other stuff too, which is incredible. Hopefully someday soon you'll be able to get to one of those and see just the turnaround. Because when we were at CrimeCon last year in Nashville, they had like an entire section. Actually, there was like 2 different sections, but in the creator row, it was just a whole corner of authors.
For
and you just
books,
walked through and you saw which books, and you said, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. And the authors were there, and you got to talk to them. And then if you didn't want to buy there, maybe if you didn't want to have the pressure of talking to the author, they had a bookstore in the front that had all of those books too, that you could just walk through and be like, I need this one. So
Wow.
highly recommend. And if I ever get a table at a crime con, I will let you know, and you can put your books on our table.
Okay.
And I will let you know.
I can do that. I can just sign a bunch and ship them off to you.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
We are in your corner for sure.
Thank you.
I was curious kind of like what's been the feedback or the response from the readers after they've read your book?
You know, the reviews on Amazon have all been very good. The local community finally hearing the whole story about what we went through.
Yeah.
A lot of people had no idea exactly, you know, how long it took, what we went through, how we were turned down, and, you know, and then, you know, a lot of people from the little town of Elmo, they, you know, that's where my mom's body was exhumed. And they're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And then they hear the whole story about why we had to exhume her. And
right.
So, yeah, it's been good. You know, like we've done some book signings where, you know, I briefly tell my story, because the whole story is in the book. And I think it's important that you read through.
I think it's important that people see, you know, like you can listen to a podcast, you can listen to an interview, you can read, you know, the back cover of one. But if you really want to know the whole story, if you really want to learn about everything, the you know, the decades long thing is you got to read this book, because like there's so much detail and so much hard work and the smallest little things that happened in order to get this thing done. And it's important to understand how so many things came together and to make this happen. And you can't get that in a 5-minute spiel, or in the back cover of a book, or in a 30-minute podcast interview. Like, you got to read the whole thing if you really want to get the whole story, right? No, I totally see what you're saying.
Well, and even the documentaries we've done, you know, we've been on 4 of them, and you know, it's an hour to get this, you know, an hour. And so really, you know, all the details, the headaches, you know, the roadblocks, the brick walls, all that we went through, you know, we talk about all of that in the book. And, you know, just, it's just been crazy. So, and then, you know, we've had, so my uncle, brother, my sister, aunt, you know, I call them that. They were my aunts, my uncles, until my grandparents adopted me. And then they became my brothers and sisters. And, they participated, you know, they contributed to the book, which is wonderful, because it's not just my story. You know, it was a story that affected a whole entire family and a, you know, community.
Right.
So
that's what I was going to say. I think that I'm not always someone who likes the, what do you call it? Like a cliffhanger where it's like, here, let me give you just a little bit so you can get the rest of it. But in this kind of, you know, circumstance, I'm completely for it, because if you watch a documentary, if you listen to our podcast, I can speak for Heather and I. You know, we call ourselves a mom cast, and when we covered your mom's case and talked to you, we focus on so much of the mother-daughter, the mom aspect of everything, where a documentary, they might be focused more on the, you know what, we really want to get in behind Mad Tom. You know, we might want to go that angle. Everyone has maybe their angles or their reason why something's happening. And with a book, it's your reason, it's your why, it's your angle. That's so different. So I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is incredible. Incredible. I know. So I got my book on Amazon, and then I know that I've seen it. Like if I've typed it in the search engine, it's like in Barnes and Noble. Is it through other stores? Do you know like where else other people could get it?
You could get it online through Walmart as well, and Barnes and Noble. But yeah, Amazon's been the big main carrier. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like Amazon's taking over the world.
Right.
It's so good in so many ways. And then others, I'm like, what is happening?
Watch out.
You know, and then I keep a stash of books on hand, you know, and when we go to the little events around town or whatever, hey, you got my book yet? Here, well, look, it's right here. Maybe you should buy it, you know? I'll sign it.
I need to buy one with you signing it. Mine is not signed. So I need to, I think I said that when I got it. I think I said, you know what I need to do is send this to you, get you to sign it.
Yep. Let's make it
happen. I need your signature. Or I'll just make sure that I hold on to it for the day that we someday meet in person and have you sign it in front of me. Because that has to happen as well.
Yeah.
Do you see anything else? Not even see anything. Do you have anything else that's kind of like in the works when it comes to possibly other books, other documentaries, other conversations?
Not that I know of. You know, we've been on Cold Case Files, on the case with Paula Zahn, Extreme Measures, and Exhumed. I've not heard from anybody that wants to, you know, tell our story. It would be absolutely amazing to have a movie made one day. And, you know, we've talked to a guy a few years back, but it's never gone anywhere either, you know, so.
Well, with the book out now, I think that's, you know, a lot more, you know, it's the story's out there a lot more. It's just another venue, another way to get her story out, right? And to make sure that your mom's story is another way for your mom's story to be out there, and you know, and any way we can help, we'll make sure we'll pitch it.
You're always on the top of my list.
We'll make that movie.
I was gonna say, if I ever switch directions and end up, you know, in the documentary, movie making, film industry, I will let you know.
Okay,
we'll go for it. Yeah.
I don't know anyone in that field yet, but when I do.
Well, you said yet, so
yeah,
you know.
Yes, exactly. You never know what could happen.
That's right.
Yeah.
You never know. You know, and it's just so important in my opinion. I Googled this morning because when we were working on my mom's case, it was 1% of cold cases get solved. So 2016, 1%. I Googled it this morning and it's up to 20%.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
It's got to be because people are, you know, taking more DNA tests. DNA is a big thing.
Sure.
You know, but with my mom, we had no DNA. We had to call a bluff and say that we had some DNA, but we don't have DNA, or we didn't have any DNA.
Yeah.
We just, you know, had to, you know, do it small town way.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, it just shows that it's doable. You know, that's another thing about your story and your mom's story and your book and everything, is the fact that, yes, 46 years, that's a long time. That is so long, and so much that you had to go through, and that you had to, you know, give yourself the grace as well throughout everything of trying, and then like not stopping, but pausing if you needed that, and then trying again, and then pausing and trying again. And then, the determination to be like, hey, I'm going to go find this guy and make this happen right now. And that's exactly what happened. And I think that gives the hope, like, your quote, that there is, even after all those years, the ability that this can happen. And how Heather said it earlier, we have talked to so many different people, and we have shared your story. And I know you have connected with Chrissy Haas, who has been trying to figure out for her mom too. And so there's so many people who your story can touch and help through in their grief and in their kind of like trying to figure out what to do next.
Right.
So, and hearing that statistic from 1% in 2016 to 20%, that is, and there's, so much changes when it comes to the DNA, the genealogy, whatever testing that they're able to do, and maybe even the people who are being a part of it and putting teams on these cases. But that just blew my mind, to be honest. I would not have thought it was like that
this morning, because I was like, it's got to be higher than 1%, because now on the news or whatever, or even on Facebook, you can get on and see that there was a cold case from 1980 that's been solved or something. And I've kept my Justice for Loretta Jones page up, and it's, and on that page has pretty much everything that we went through prior to the book, and prior to Egley's confession and all of that, the exhumation, the process of getting the information out to the press. And
I think it's so important to keep that, because it's like, it's an archive, like, timeline basically of everything that you guys went through too. And just like Rachel was saying too, it's like, it's really, it's a testament. It's like a living, breathing testament that people can like go through and just like see everything that you guys did for so long. And people who are going through their own circumstances too can go through that, and they can scroll through that and just see, like, look, I mean, these people were at it for decades,
or maybe get an idea, maybe try something else. Maybe you have a neighbor that's willing to wear a wire,
I know, right?
Really.
And so that's exactly, it's important. I think it's super important to keep that kind of stuff up and maintain that, so people can see that. And I think it's inspirational to see that. Yeah.
I can actually already see the beginning of the movie with someone just scrolling on Facebook and going through your entire thing there.
Look,
is
Rachel's
that the opening
literally producing it in her head as it is. It's like here. The wheels are spinning.
Like me stalking David Brewer, so I knew exactly what he looked like.
That is the scene I'm looking forward to. That you going up to him at the festival and then getting a tattoo.
In her director's eye, Rachel's already like got it in her head.
Okay, fine. I quit the podcast. I need to move on.
Okay,
here we go. She's buying a camera tonight. She's making it happen.
Figure this out. I love that, and I love that you're able and willing to share with us again about everything. Is there anything else that you would be able to share? I'm trying to think of like what else, because to me it's like, this is the podcast book tour, like what else can we how else can we help you share? But I'm like, if there's anything else that you want to talk about the book or about your journey, we can. If not, I'm going to absolutely at the end of this attach a full where to get it, how to get it, go and get it, scream at them, they better get it,
right?
type stuff.
And of course, all of that will be in the, links and stuff, all of that, it will make sure is in there. But in case if there's anything else you want to make sure we plug.
I think we've covered it. I think we've covered good, but, a book on how to solve a cold case without any DNA, pretty much without any evidence, with a sassy daughter that wouldn't let her mom's death, die in vain. And, just, this is the book.
I mean, the movie writes itself right there, Heidi. I mean, hello. That's the trailer right there. That's the pitch.
have my two little podcasters on there,
Yes.
So, yeah.
Oh yes, and also can I say what a surreal moment that was to see the shout out to Whine Time back then.
Yeah.
I know.
So that was such a special moment too.
Yeah.
I bawled like a baby. I was like, oh my gosh. Because like it's so special to us to be able to talk with you and to be able to share and to be able to do that. And I love the connection that we've made because, yes, this is only the second time we're sitting here recording, but we've talked very often on and off about things. And so I love that relationship and that connection that we've made. But it's like in my head, I have this imposter syndrome so often where I'm just like, who am I to be doing this? And then when that happened, I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, and what's so funny, you're reaching out being all nervous, and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, let's do it. So
I live nervous. I just live nervous.
Oh, I live nervous too, unfortunately.
Yeah. I know it's a funny world to live in.
It is funny though, like how often things will pop up, and like this happened not too long ago. We were on the phone or something, and a song came on, and she goes, "Oh, do you hear what song is on?" I need.
I was at the Goodwill.
Yeah.
I was at the Goodwill. Yes. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Might turn up the radio by Autograph.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like little things like that, Yeah. It's just nice to know we have that connection, and this happens to us so often as we, whenever we meet people during this journey, that it's always like, unfortunately, this tragic thing that a lot of times brings us together. But, we're really grateful for these connections. We meet such wonderful people who are just honestly inspirational throughout their journey. So we just really appreciate, you sharing this part of your life with us.
Very much so. I know I can always count on you guys for support. Like if I needed to get the word out about something, I know I could,
yeah, definitely
call in my girls.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
We've got you for sure. Well, thank you so much for coming on, sharing about the book.
Yeah. Thank you.
We will be getting it out to everyone that we possibly can. And hopefully 1 million people go and buy the book today.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll have to watch the sales on Amazon after the podcast is released.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes. And thank you.
Always.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys.
Bye, Heidi.
I lost my children to filicide, murdered by the very person who should have been protecting them. I'm Hope Hooten, and this is Voices Against Filicide. This podcast exposes the heartbreaking epidemic of parents killing their own children. Stories the world needs to hear. You'll hear from moms like me. We'll talk about justice, healing, and what must change, including the Rowan Act, a fight to fix what's broken in our family court system. Their lives mattered. Their voices were stolen, but ours won't be. Voices Against Filicide. Listen, share, be part of the change.